Well, I had people keeping me company,
Oh, okay.
so we did. I missed you a little bit,
Just a touch, eh?
just a little bit.
Thanks, buddy.
It's good. It's good to have you back. So, did you have a
Thanks.
nice little vacation there?
I wouldn't really call it a vacation,
No?
but I mean, I had a good little break away from Patrick.
You had a
That
good
was-
little
that was
break
good.
away from me.
Yeah,
I
that was
see.
good.
Okay. Well, let's get on with the show. Because we've got an interesting show today. We've got quite a few people. We've got a couple people on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, Dwayne Morgan he's in the studio, kind of standing around here.
Chilling.
Gonna bring him into the conversation in a few minutes, but we've got the son of a basketball player
Mm-hmm.
who's on the line with us. Anthony, are you there?
Yeah, Patrick, how you doing? How you guys doing today?
Hey, Anthony, it's good to have you on the show. Naila, do you know who Anthony
hear me?
Mason is?
Hello, Anthony Mason Jr. Yes, I've heard of the name.
You've heard of the name?
I know the name.
You know the name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the senior
The senior?
more than the junior.
More
but
than
yeah.
the junior? Okay, we'll find out if the junior is single, because I know we're trying to work something out
Oh,
for you.
man.
Anthony,
You
it's good to have you on the show.
Hey, good to be
Welcome,
on the
welcome,
show. I feel
welcome
like
to the
I'm sitting on
show.
the couch and I'm just in the room right now, chilling.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, say that again. We got to turn you up a little bit in the studio.
The conversation is smooth. It feels like I'm just sitting on the couch listening to you guys talk.
Well, I'm hoping that
It's all
they're.
right if you can't hear me a little bit too.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
It's acting crazy.
Jason just hooked us up. I want to jump right into this, and I want to say, like you have your own career and all the stuff that you're doing on your end, but I'm curious, since we've got a hold of you. I wanted to know what's it like, or what was it like growing up, and seeing your dad playing in the NBA, and hearing lots of people talking about him, and just for yourself, he was your dad. What kind of impact did that have on you growing up as a young boy, just seeing your father that way?
It was very positive, motivating impact. Definitely hearing about people. It's one thing is you have a conversation about somebody. We all do at barbershop, beauty shop, just chilling, talk about individuals and people talking about how great people are. And for those persons to be like you said, your father, it got to be just an inspiration, like more motivating things. Like, okay, I got to be there one day.
Mm-hmm.
People got to talk about me like that. You know what I'm saying? And my pops always was one of those guys that's like, you're next up. He always was pushing for the legacy, pushing for me and my little brother. So
Now,
it was definitely motivating having a figure like that to look up to.
So it kind of pushed you, motivated you to want to be, to aspire to your own greatness.
Yeah, for sure. And just especially touch people like he did. And like I got the same type of approach when I meet people. I think he's a very, outstanding. And at first, because of how he's known on the court, it might feel like he's intimidating. But once you get to know him, he's just a genuine great guy. So I get that a lot, So I try to just be the same. You can't be an a-hole out here when you're such, known for being somebody. So he showed me a lot with that part about just how to, relate to people.
A lot of people, they look at the NBA, and you talk to a lot of kids these days, and everybody wants to go to the NBA. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to be a superstar. And then sometimes when you talk to some of these guys, their personalities are not all that wonderful. And sometimes it's a bit of a challenge, because these kids look up to them, but then there's not a whole lot of them who actually turn around, or who actually are, I would say, the heroes that people kind of look up to.
Right.
From some of the stuff.
Exactly. I agree. I'm sorry.
From some of the stuff that I was reading, it sounded like your father was really involved. Maybe you could talk a little.
Yeah, for sure. That was something I was just talking about with my kids yesterday. I got this program. It's a youth enrichment program, a foundation I started up, a charity in my father's honor. It's called Family on 3. And that was a big, what you just spoke about, was a big thing I was talking about yesterday during the program, was the power of an athlete. It's beyond the result of who you want to be once you decide to be a basketball player, football player, tennis player, whatever sport that you want to play. You become this figure, you become a role model, even if you didn't want to. It's like this Spider-Man thing, like with great power comes great responsibility, and like being an athlete in this world, because it's more so entertainment now, is very powerful. So like I was telling my kids, like even if you're a kid at the age of 10 or 12, you still got somebody that's probably 8 or 6 looking up to you just because you playing basketball, just because they see you. So it's a way that you have to act, it's a persona that you have to do. And that was one of the things I learned, like when being in the NBA when I first was with the Miami Heat, was that the biggest thing is being a professional. And I feel like that's on all levels. It's not just basketball or sports. Sports helps you a lot because it opens up so many doors and you meet so many people. And that's what my Family on 3 program speaks on too. It opens up so many doors. You just got to be prepared and have that type of manner where you're able to relate to a lot of people because of the power you have as an athlete. You become a role model.
Now, how do you...
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's a pretty big thing because, yeah, you're right. Whether you like it or not, people are going to see you as this role model. And the trappings are huge.
It's true.
You know, there's a lot of, no matter where you go, there's so many things being thrown at you, so many people throwing themselves at you.
Right.
You know, there's so much temptation that's out there. How do you navigate that and keep a clear head? You know, remembering, I guess, where you came from and remembering who you are in the midst of all that madness. That's a ton of weight for anybody to carry.
That's exactly what you got to do. You got to keep that balance of reality of what's going on and who you are and where you came from. Exactly what you just said. Like, I had a great balance growing up. Like, I didn't actually grow up in a home with my father, but I'm Anthony Mason Jr., so it always followed my pops. I always had a relationship with, like, I would always come and say, but I grew up with my mom, you know, in Memphis, in Tennessee. So that balance of, you know, life down there and reality of going to school out there, public school, but then on the flip side, growing up to be with my father, and it's a whole different life. I call it like light and dark. Not saying that it's dark where I'm at, but it's just a difference in the light. When a lot of these sports figures, once they get into the professionals, that light kind of blinds them. And so, like you said, so many, so many things come to you, like you can't really decipher because you never seen anything like that. Mm-hmm. But with me, I seen a lot growing up. Mm-hmm. Having a father in the NBA, I seen a lot growing up. And I was at an age, probably like, my pops was 19, 20 years older than me. So when he's like 36, 35, 34, 14, 15, but I'm a 6'1", 6'2", 14, 15-year-old. And this is Anthony Mason. Wow. So I was able to go anywhere that he could go, you know? And my father kept me around in that aspect. He showed me a lot of things about how real life was. So that's how I deciphered through what was going on. And that's why I have a better balance with life and what, like, it gives me and how I, like, navigate through a lot of the BS, like you said, because there's so much that comes into you. A lot of these players never lived that life before. A lot of these players never got girls before. A lot of these players never seen all this money before. And there's not a lot of programs. Like my Family on 3 program, I kind of keen to that, teaching the on and off the court things like that you should be prepared for financially, physically, and things that might be in your way. Because there's a lot of stuff that school teaches, but they don't try to teach. They don't kind of teach you as far as like being a professional. Mm-hmm. As far as, because it's not just in the athletic world, it's like in business and everything. I just did a resume course with my kids, and they in there like, why are we? I was like, don't think that this basketball thing is gonna last forever, ever. You're gonna always have to have a resume, no matter what you are. You know.
It's true. So, what do you do? What do you do after your knees give out? You know.
Right.
Yeah. So I kinda, and a lot of people don't. They don't talk about that. You know, they just want us to, you know, they string like at the same time, these big schools, brands, they just want us as an athlete. But I be, like we were just speaking on the power of an athlete. You got to understand that they need you. You don't really need them. You the business. Like these big moves that LeBron James and all these people are pulling, like you got people, kids that's coming up should pay more attention to that because it shows you like more so like, I need you. So it's more better deals that you can make these days. And opportunities are endless now because of the world that we live in.
Wow.
Sorry if I'm just talking.
No, that's okay.
It's quite okay. It's quite okay. You know, a little bit about, you know, the organization that you founded. What was the main reason why you decided that you needed to do this family on three? And it might be kind of obvious, but where'd the name come from?
Honestly, the name derived from I went to school for communications and film and production. Took a lot of film and production class, so my baby, my heart was always film and production. So me and my boys writing a script one day. It was about our college career, and we named it Family on Three. So that's where it first derived from. But it's all about family in the aspect of like when you put your hands in 1, 2, 3 family. It's about togetherness, camaraderie, and teaching like responsibility or caring for each other, knowing that the people that you make, these relationships that you make here, you use throughout life. So that's kind of where it kind of came from. But my reason for doing it is just from like not forgetting where you're from. A lot of inner city kids and inner city youth, we don't get that learning to exposure or positive role models in our neighborhoods a lot these days. So I feel like with the power of the athlete, you got access to all these friends and people that you have. Like my network, I know so many people. Like I gotta use that to my advantage to be a part of these kids' lives because they the future. To brighten them up. Because there's a lot of times like things I learned later. Like when I went to the NBA, I learned stuff in the NBA that I was supposed to probably learn a couple of years later. But you were teaching me today, and then tomorrow you want me to do it. I feel like balling. I got all this money. Like, but some things you just need to learn a little bit earlier. So that's what kind of like my Family on Three aspect like took off. Where I was like kind of different than other programs and what I really wanted to do with the kids. It was just teaching them that what you learn on this court, use in real life. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared for what life is going to hand you because of the things that come with this game, and not just basketball, all sports.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing that a lot of people don't really think about, and that a lot of those life lessons that you learn, they transcend the game. They truly are life lessons.
Exactly.
And a
Exactly.
lot of these kids, they look at it and they're
like that's why you have so many players like financially over, like because we just didn't know. Like you learn stuff in the rookie stuff about financial literacy, but I mean, okay, you teach me this class today, and then you give me a $10 million check tomorrow.
Right.
What you think I'm gonna do?
Well, we all hear about those lottery winners, right? Those lottery winners, they win millions of dollars, and then a year later, 2 years later, they're all bankrupt. They seem to be worse off than before they won, because there's I think to go along with that check should be a 6-month course.
It's true.
that they have to take on how to manage things.
Exactly.
And a lot of
6 months, some type of course.
Yeah, a lot of people that get into the game and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I've never seen this much money. And you see pictures of them on Facebook and Instagram. They're rolling around on a bed of money.
Yep.
but it only lasts for so long.
Ain't never even filed taxes. Don't know what a W. Never seen none of it. And not even looking forward to paying taxes or anything. So that's a lot of stuff. Like I got 2 classrooms I have with Family on Three. You can express yourself, which is like exposure, where I bring different people that I know on my network, like production or artists or something, just to come in and speak to the kids and tell them about their story. It'll probably inspire one of the kids to like try something new. And then I have like my regular course thing where I teach like resume building or financial literacy. And like you said, those type of things are needed. More so like I know math and algebra, like you gotta have those, but it's like how much did you use it after school?
Right.
You being a radio host, like how much did you use the math in your science classes after high school?
2 weeks.
If you're not getting into like pediatrics or doctor or anything like that, if you're not doing that, then you need to teach me how to invest, earn, and save money. And there's no courses like in school like that. So I try to do that with the program.
I think you may have missed it, but I think Naila said she's using her bed mass and algebra and all that every 2 weeks when she gets paid. Try to figure out.
If you get paid,
how much tax money did they take out? How much benefits money did they take out? Every 2 weeks.
Yeah, like if you account, all the power to you account, but it's hard to average. A lot of people just learn how to just save, invest, and earn. Like, because I went through it. I mean, I think a lot of people go through it. Even if you're not an athlete, when you go to college for the first time, you learn through high school, all your courses, and you got every course you just score high on the ACT. Everything's well. You probably got a full scholarship. But then you get that financial aid money, you get a lot of money,
Oh yeah.
and a lot of us blow it.
Then all the
And
credit
you
card
be in more
companies are
debt
throwing
than
credit cards at you, and you know,
oh,
by the end of it, you're
Man,
credit
by the time you're
card.
done with college or university, your credit is a mess.
and then you got to start life.
I thought the credit cards was magic money when I got it. I was like, it's a credit card, I ain't gotta pay it, I can swipe it.
It's
What?
Yeah,
free money.
swipe away.
Let me get a let me
You're
get a bedroom set, TV, everything.
you get all hooked up.
When you gonna pay that back? Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
how old are the participants in your program?
I deal with
Like
high
what
school
age range?
students from 9th to 10th, 12th, yeah, high school students.
Oh,
I'm in high
okay.
schools right
Okay.
now. Right now, I'm in my father's high school. He started out at my father's high school, Springfield High School.
Cool.
I had did a couple of things where I was, my thing was when my father passed. His name was such a strong figure, and people loved him so much in New York and throughout the sports world. It was just my task to just make his name, last as long as possible and keep people alive. So I went on, like, renaming the gym, set it up. We did a big ceremony at his high school. And we renamed the court after him. It's called Mace Court. And then that kind of, like, established my relationship with the school system, the senator, and a couple people. And then that's where the first part, like,
Right.
that's home base for us, for the Family on Threes program. It is high school. It's called Springfield Educational Campus.
Okay.
Was your organization like was it well received? Did you get any pushback from any of the organizations that you approached for support?
Oh, no. I mean, not at all. Everybody really, my thing is when you building something, a business, since it's a business too, even though it's an organization, you gotta run it like a business. It's like you can tell, you can pitch all day to people and stuff, but they still gotta see that footwork you put in. So this is our first year.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, yeah, definitely, oh yes, let's do it, type of feel, because, end of the day, it's my name, my father, and all that. And they want to show him love at the end of the day. But they got to see that footwork that you put in. So a lot of this year was a lot of footwork that we put in personally. But now those partnerships and those people that we have a relationship out throughout this year are coming back and seeing what we're doing and seeing that we established and we've been working and every Saturday at it. Now those people are even more like, oh, let me be a part. But yeah, they definitely received it. It wasn't any negative about it at all.
Mm.
But they definitely was taking it all in, but even more so now, like the Knicks organization, people like his teammates, John Starks, he helps out a lot. I had a lot of help from the government, Senator Lee Montgomery down here. He helps out a lot because he's from Queens. My father's from Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, one of the other things I just recently did was got his street that he grew up on. We renamed the street Anthony Mason Way.
Nice.
So I wrote up
Cool.
the proposal letter and stuff. So just establishing relationships, it's all about your network. I feel like your network makes your network. So everybody's been a lot of, like, receiving, but like I said, you got to put in that footwork.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure that you're laying your own foundation down when you're building something like this. So that's what we've been doing this year, and it's coming out pretty well. Got a big fundraiser in April in a couple of weeks with John Starks. So everything's been working out pretty well.
Now, this might seem like a kind of a silly question, but a lot of times you talk
We
to.
expect anything from you, Patrick.
Thanks, Naila.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
glad for the vote of confidence there. Sometimes, a child is growing up and they're sort of in the shadow of their father, and they're trying to sort of make their own name, Did you ever struggle with that at all? That you're trying to create your own legacy, but then people kind of still connect you to your dad?
It's like my story is different. Like, it's way different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up possibly outside the household with my father. It wasn't an everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a difference. Like, I had a whole nother balance of life, the way I seen things, the way I was looking at it. I never really got caught up in the aspect of who my pops was or what it was or who he was or how this love that we get. I always been a normal individual. All my friends always say I'm too normal. Like, bro, like, they always want me to be, I'm Anthony Mason Jr. That's how they want me, but I never been that type of person. Like, I grew up people in Memphis where my friends and stuff, they thought my first name was Mason my whole life, like, because everybody down south called me Mason. So I was in school, and they like, "Oh, what's your last name?" I'm like, "Yo." So I never really had that, like, hover over my shoulders. So, like, I always knew, like I said in the beginning of the conversation, that it was motivation for me to get to that level, and people to speak of me that highly. But I never had it over my shoulder where I was, like, feeling like, it's something I got to live up to. So my father never put that pressure on me. That's the main reason. Him and my mom never put that pressure on me. It's like, whatever you want to do. So I was always game to individually be me. And if anybody that you run into or run into about me, they always know that I'm me at the end of the day. Like, I done seen a lot of people been around Jay-Z's and all that. I never got caught up in it. Not pictures, autographs, none of that, because I always felt like I'm going to be there anyway one day. Like, just mentally I was there. So I never let anything overbearing, like the shadow of my father, like, I gotta be. It never was really that. Because I even came to New York. I played ball in New York in college, and that was a big question all the time. Like, is it the pressure? Is it this? Is it that? Because you're in New York playing. Nah, it was cool. Like, my relationship with my pops was totally different. We probably talked about basketball. We talking this long time, talking like an hour. Talking about basketball, my pops for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
So he wasn't one of those dads that were just on you, like, you got to be the star, you got to be the best, you got to put in that pressure on you.
Yeah, never was that, because he let me be me. I feel like he saw a lot of me in him, so he let me be me.
That's awesome.
He let me grow up to be me, and he had me involved in a lot of stuff, like, as far as, like, I seen a lot of grown-up stuff when I was younger. So I think it was, at first I was like, it was, but I feel like he was just preparing me for, like, things now. Like, he just knew, I guess he saw a lot of me in him. So I guess it was the best way. Like, a lot of people don't grow up like that. A lot of people just up under their father all the day. A lot of people just, or their parent all the time. And it's like, you kind of put their pressure without even knowing it on them. Because they're so hugged up on you, and you're not letting them free to be them, individually become who they are. And so I never was put in that position.
See, I know when Naila finally decides to have a kid, she's going to be one of those moms at the game just yelling and screaming at her kid. I know she's going to be
Me?
that. Yeah, you.
I'll be screaming at the other team.
You're going to be like running on the field, I know, trying to
go to the other team.
Are you the one that's the mother that's going to choke the ref?
Yeah, I probably would be one of those, actually.
That was my grandma.
My
grandma used to not know anything about the game at all. All she knew was don't mess with her baby.
No. I wouldn't be one of those. No. I choke the ref for making bad calls,
though. My grandma did not know anything. She used to just come and yell, "Grandma, we winning. What are you yelling at? We winning. It's cool."
I think he's got you figured out. I think it's been great talking with you. I do want you to kind of let everybody know, how can, if people want to get involved and support your organization, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, for sure. You can contact us at www.familyon3, spell the word out, 3, THREE, familyon3.org. You can find us there, and you can find us on IG. It's familyon3, also spelled out. So you can check us out on there. But definitely hit us up on the website. Shoot us an email. We got a lot of tabs on there. Our contact information, everything is on there. Hit us up on the website, and let us know whichever way you want to be involved. I want to definitely shout out Toronto too for that. I came up there recently during the All-Star game and did a little clinic and spoke to the kids over in Toronto during the All-Star break. So it was fun. It was with my this program called Bishop Elite. It was with my former teammate. He played in the Canadian League, and now he trains and has his own program up there called Bishop Elite. His name is Aaron Spears, and I came up there, and so it was fun. The kids loved it. So definitely kind of prepared to try to come back up there and do so.
Definitely, when you're heading back this way, give us a shout. Let us know, up. And we'll get the word out for you.
So we can see you in person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you want to see?
Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool.
Naila's looking forward to meeting you.
Not like that. Patrick, take that look off your face. It's Jeez.
I mean, well, I kind of got that kind of feel too. But I'm sorry. It's radio.
Don't help him, Anthony.
She said, "I want to see you in person."
Don't help Patrick.
That's what she said.
We've
bro.
been talking for half an hour and we don't know what we look like, you know?
He's probably watching on YouTube right now.
Oh, well, see, that's just unbalanced. That ain't even right. He can see me and I
Nah,
can't see him.
I'm not a creeper. I'm not a creeper. I'm not the swiper. I'm not swiper. Keep swiping.
Thanks a lot for being on the show today, and all the best with your
Patty O. That's cool. I call you Patty O. Patty O.
Who?
Say that again.
Patty O.
Patty O, me?
Patio.
Patty O.
No,
Okay,
no problem,
cool.
man. Call me whatever you want. I'm good.
Yeah, 'cause I was just looking at the nouns like P.O. I didn't want to say P.O.M. You know, your abbreviation was P.O.M.
P.O.
Yeah.
Patty O.
That's true.
I always nickname people. I don't know why. It just comes out.
Patio. I think that might stick.
Yeah, it might stick.
It might stick.
I know it's
Yeah,
gonna
you come
stick
to
with
my
you, Naila.
you come to my neighborhood, they gonna nickname you right away.
Oh.
Like that. They gonna nickname you. Gonna get a nickname real quick. So
There you go.
you Patio in the hood.
I don't know. Maybe if Jason lets me on the turntables, would be my new DJ name.
Patio?
DJ Patio.
Oh, man.
DJ.
Now you
DJ
started
Patio.
something. Anthony, you started something that you can't even imagine.
Yeah, just throw my cosign on there. Anthony Mason Jr. cosign.
It's definitely been a pleasure. All the best in your career and all your endeavors, and definitely hope to hear from you soon. Next time you're heading back to Toronto, would love to get you in the studio in person. So Naila can finally see you.
For sure.
Any last words, Naila? You're looking.
Thanks a lot.
It was great talking with you, Anthony. Good luck with family on
Hey, great
3.
talking to you guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you. And
All
like
right.
I said, log in, www.familyon3.org.
Yes.
FamilyOn3.org. Take care.
All right.
Later.
Thanks a lot, man.
No
Thank you,
problem.
All right.
Wow, that was our conversation with Anthony.
Patrick, man, you're pimping me out across the border. Like, you're just like...
I'm trying to help a sister out. Dwayne, where are you? You still in the studio?
I'm here.
Jeez.
Sounds like a nice guy. Come on. He plays
Dwayne,
ball.
help me. Save me.
I'm trying to help a sister out.
Please. Let's just talk about something else.
All right, we're talking with Dwayne Morgan now. Dwayne, how
Yes.
you doing, man?
I'm excellent.
It's
Thanks.
it's been way too long from I think the last time connected with you was back in Black Habits days, man.
Black
back.
Habits?
Yeah. Oh, it's another
What's that?
life. It's another life.
Way back.
I've had many lives. This is like in the 90s, early 2000s sort of thing.
Oh, Patrick.
Another life, another thing I used to do. BH.
Patio. Okay.
Shout out to Bentley and the crew if they're listening.
Bentley.
Yeah, don't worry, man. We'll talk about that later.
Patrick, you.
We're not here to talk about BH. We're here to talk about Dwayne right now.
True.
So Dwayne, you've been in the game for quite a while. Like you've been doing poetry. You've been writing books. You got like 8 books out there now?
Yeah, it's a little more than that now. But
more than that now?
You know, who's counting?
Who's got this guy? You do photography.
Yes.
You've got your photography show that I think Naila would blush if she came to that. She's
I've
possible.
seen some of the pictures,
she's
though.
a little,
It's good stuff.
Conservative, maybe. but
She's a little conservative.
It's all good.
She might
It's all
blush
good.
a little bit.
I have no comment.
So
I mean, I wouldn't pose in the pictures, but I can appreciate the pictures.
Oh, is that what it is?
How about we? Yeah.
Okay. Well, he might ask you to pose. He might be looking for a nice.
I might do
person
like
to-
just my legs.
Just your foot bottom. Make sure
yeah.
you cream it, okay?
You're so annoying.
So, yeah, Dwayne.
Yes.
I'm trying. Naila, stop it. I'm trying to talk
I'm
to our
done.
guest here. So you've been doing poetry for eons.
Yeah, it's been this year makes 23 years.
23. Don't say that too loud, man. People are gonna be
It's a
like.
long time.
Yeah.
He started when he was like 5.
Pretty much, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
23 years, and you've gotten some pretty good recognition for that over the time.
Yeah, I mean it's been great. I grew up in Scarborough, so the city of Scarborough inducted me into their Walk of Fame. So
So he's got a star.
I have a
he's got
star
He's
in
got
front of
Saw
the
his picture
H&M
at Scarborough Town Center.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
So
star.
it's a little bit
He's
of a big
famous
deal,
now.
So it's good. It's good. So it's just great to be recognized for what you do, especially something like poetry that is not in the mainstream. It is not seen as something that's entertaining and all this kind of stuff. It's not like you're a rapper or whatever. It doesn't have the same kind of profile. So when you can take something that's kind of off the beaten path and make and create something out of it, it's great to receive that kind of recognition.
Poetry, a lot of people trying to sell poetry books or trying to create some awareness in and around poetry. A lot of times in the mainstream media, it's not really something that is looked at the same way as a painting is. You're not going to go to, there's no museum of poetry sort of thing. Just
No.
don't laugh at me now.
It's called the library.
It's called the library.
That's what that is. That's what you call that.
I'm sorry. The library's the museum. Okay,
It's true.
That's a good point. So,
man.
You've got your books in the Museum of Poetry, according to. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of just trying to get this stuff out there wherever you can, because
Right.
the point that you're making really is that it's not always as accessible, and it's not always revered in the same way that someone might revere music or a painting or a sculpture or that sort of thing. The work that it takes to actually craft words in such a way that it gives people meaning and that it has a connection to people is not appreciated in the same way that we might appreciate a sculpture or something
Right.
else.
The poetry scene or spoken word scene in Toronto. I know you've been involved. Obviously, you've been involved in it quite a while. Is it growing? Is there more awareness? Is it, what exactly? Because I'm always hearing that that there are little pockets of stuff happening around the city.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely growing in the sense that there's way more stuff happening now than when I first started. It's becoming a lot more popular. Poetry slams were a big thing in terms of, just introducing a lot of people to, poetry and how poetry can be used. And, the city just has stuff happening all the time right now. And there's little pockets. So, whatever you're into, whatever your style is, there's kind of a place for you. So that you can go and be appreciated for your work. So there's definitely a lot more opportunities for people getting involved today than there were some 23 years ago.
I think when I first moved to Toronto, the only spoken word artist I'd heard of was Dwayne Morgan and Travis Blackman.
Okay, yep.
That was it. Now there's like a whole plethora
Yep.
of people.
It's a growing industry.
Yeah.
What makes Dwayne Morgan? Like, what was it that started this whole journey for you?
I think the Dwayne Morgan only exists because of the time when I started. And, so there can never be another Dwayne Morgan or someone who follows the same path, because, when we look at spoken word, when I first started, spoken word didn't exist as a term for the genre. So, we were just poets. And then because, the stuff that we were writing kind of had this hip hop feel and stuff to it, and the regular poets were getting offended that we were also calling ourselves poets, then spoken word was created to kind of push us over here as the, you're not poets, you guys are these
Something
other people, right? So this new category was created. When I started out, no one wanted to publish any of my work, so I started self-publishing, and at that time it was unheard of, and you had to publish by the thousands. Now you can do print on demand, and you can do all of these things. So I learned very early how to have a business mindset around the things that I was doing because of necessity, because none of these things ever existed, because there were so many doors that were closed to me. I had to figure out how to open the doors. So young people coming up now, the doors are already open. So, so I'm Dwayne Morgan because I had to figure out how to do all of these things, how to navigate around all of these things in order to create a career for myself. And it's very different for young people who are coming up now who don't have to learn many of these same lessons because other people have already paved the way for them.
So you were a trailblazer.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
For sure.
and you set the tone for a lot of people. You opened many doors for a lot of people. I know
Mm-hmm.
you've traveled quite a bit.
Yes.
You know, sharing your. Why are you smiling at me like
I'm
that?
just listening.
She's looking at me. She always does this. I'm you know, could make a point.
You
She-
go off on tangents and then try to blame
makes-
me. I'm just listening.
You know, so poetry has opened many doors for you
Mhm.
as well.
Yes.
In your career, you know, for somebody who's up and coming, who's writing, who's, you know, got all these ideas in their heads, you know, what would you say to them about, you know, embracing their craft?
Well, I think first there has to be, you know, an appreciation for the craft. You know, coming up, you know, people are always like, oh, you know, do you write these poems just to get girls and stuff or whatever? And I'm like, I mean,
That's funny.
you could write poems to get girls, but you'll have a very short career because
Yeah.
that's very short lived. You have to appreciate your craft. You have to study your craft. You have to know who has done things before you. You have to know the movements that you're walking into, because when you become a part of something, you have to understand that it's not about you. And, you know, a lot of artists are very narcissistic because it's really about them and their art. But I've always believed in creating opportunities for other people. So it's never been just about me. It's been about how can I create platforms for other people. So, you know, when you enter into a scene, you have to know that you're just a small part of this. You're just the 2016 version. You have a role to play to create an environment that in 2020 other people are going to benefit from. And for a lot of artists, you know, they just believe that everything revolves around them. And as long as that is your belief, then it limits what you can do and what you can gain out of whatever it is that you're doing. So I think for artists on the come up, it's really a matter of, you know, learning what has come before you, knowing that, you know, different generations speak and express differently. You know, a lot of times with young people, they just feel that, you know, how they say their poems, that's the right way, that's the cool way, that's whatever. And it's like, well, every generation before expressed differently, right? You had like, you know, when people just first came from Jamaica and the Caribbean, you had the whole dub influence, you had a jazz influence before that, you had a civil rights influence before that, and the work sounded very different. So how these young people, how their work sounds now in 10, 15 years, people are going to be like, oh, that was whack, you know what I mean? Because there's going to be just a new way of expressing yourself. So you also have to understand that, you know, what you're doing is just now. It's just a reflection of the now, but it doesn't make it any better or more relevant than what has happened before. And a lot of times, you know, we don't like to pay homage to those people who have come before because we're so caught up in what it is that we're doing that we think that somehow it's greater than what has happened before us.
You've done a lot of shows, you know, like you've had the Black Love thing.
Yes.
You've had When Brothers Speak.
When sisters speak.
Yeah, When Sisters. Okay. All right.
Sorry, just had to.
When Naila Speaks.
Right.
You know, you've put on a lot of these events, and you continue to put on these events. You know, what is that driving force for you to continue to do that? I'm you know, obviously they're not. You don't do them for free, but I can't imagine that your only motivation, you know, is getting paid out of this. There's got to be something else behind it that's driving you to continue to do this.
Well, I mean, a lot of the shows don't even bring in that much money, so we'll just take the money out of the equation, right? But the thing is, I think it's important for me to make art accessible. I understand how important art is and how important, you know, having positive ways to express yourself are. And, you know, growing up, you know, my two Jamaican parents didn't really put any kind of emphasis on art and the arts. It wasn't anything that was, hey, let's go and see, you know, a play or something like that.
You should be a
But,
poet when you grow up. That's what you heard all the time.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
So,
Two Jamaican parents. I'm gonna be a poet, Mom and Dad.
but I think
Go to school.
there's so much stuff in society that you can discuss and you can get away with when you package it in art. There's so many conversations that you can have through art that it is necessary to have people exposed to art, and through that then you start to open up dialogues about all sorts of different things. So for me, you know, the shows that I produce is really about trying to bring people together so that we can have a shared experience and then begin having conversations about things that are actually important that we're not really discussing.
Right.
You got a new venture that's coming out shortly. It's coming out soon. You've got you're gonna be on TV.
Yes, Yes. So there's a brand new cable station called the Afro Global Network. It just launched on Bell Fibe on Thursday, and it'll be coming to Rogers and Shaw Cable, and I don't know where else after that. So I have a show on there called Poetically Speaking, where I'm pretty much just interviewing poets and writers about their process, about their careers, and primarily poets and writers of color, because there are various challenges that they have and obstacles to getting mainstream attention that I want to, try to deal with and create. I continue to create a platform for. So we filmed the first 6 episodes so far. We'll film a few more next week. I'm not sure exactly when the show is going to hit the airwaves, but it's a great new adventure, and I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to challenge myself to do some different things, and this is just a new frontier, for me. It's been in the works for a few years, and now it's finally here. So, we'll kind of see what happens. So, it's a very different thing, working with TV. It's a new medium. So, I'm still trying to figure it out and work out the kinks and try to get comfortable. So, I mean, the first few episodes might be a little rough, but, as I settle into the, this new...
Settle into your role.
Yeah, this new role and stuff.
Find your groove.
Get used to the cameras.
It should be a little bit better. But, it's you live and you learn, and I always, I'm a trial and error kind of person. I just like to jump in and get things done. And this is just, the latest adventure, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Can we expect a poetry slam on TV?
I think she's offering to sign up. She wants to.
Nah,
I do have an idea that has been pitched around, like a poetry slam thing for TV. So I don't know if that is going to happen. I did one of my newest events that I've started is a slam for singer songwriters.
Yeah.
And so
a friend of mine was in that.
Okay, yeah, so it's called the Soul Slam, and I did it in January. So we're actually going to do like a 1-hour special on that event for the TV channel and stuff.
Very
so they came
cool.
in and filmed that and stuff like that. So it's I'm in a situation right now because the station is new and they need programming and that sort of thing, and because of all the things that I do, I'm in a position where I can pitch a lot of different ideas, which hopefully will help to bring a lot more exposure to people in the city.
Nice.
Very cool.
So you started off with, writing poetry, and then evolved into photography. Now you're evolving into the TV hosting show. Like, how did you go from writing poems into the photography piece? Talk about bridging that gap.
A lot of the poems that I write are narrative in the sense that when you listen to them, you can actually follow the story and you can see the story in your head. Because it's always been so visual, it is that visual because I've always been a very visually oriented person. So before I write a poem, I have to be able to see the story that I'm writing in my head. And then the words that I choose to use to describe this are based on what I see playing out in my head. So I can't just, sit here and write a poem if the storyline isn't there, if I don't see it happening, in my head. So for me, I've always had an interest in photography, and it was just such an expensive thing to get involved with, especially for a trial and error kind of person. However, once digital photography came around, it became a lot easier to be able to not have to buy film and all of these things and just get a camera and start learning, how to do different things. And then you could just delete the pictures and stuff. You don't have to develop all this film and all this kind of stuff. So once the technology made it more accessible, to get involved and to start learning, then I jumped in about 2005 and have just been teaching myself ever since then.
It's funny. One of my sons does photography, and I was talking because I used to take a lot of photos, and we were having this discussion because you were showing me a bunch of stuff that he did, and I looked at it and I said, back in my day, I was like, I would go out and I would use 10 rolls of film, and taking to get it developed, and I'm paying to get 10 rolls of film developed, but out of it, there may be 3 or 4,
pictures.
really good shots, ones that you look at and you're like, okay, these ones will work. And then the rest, and you have no idea really what's there until it's developed. Once you've paid for a few $100 to get 10 rolls
That's
of
a
films
sermon
developed.
right there.
It was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Digital photography has definitely changed the
Yeah.
game in that you can view and see it instantly. But
You don't even have to be a good photographer in digital photography. Not saying that you're not, because you're actually really good. But like, all you need is an app with a filter, and you just shoot a tree and put the right filter on it, and it looks like a $1,000 picture.
Mm-hmm.
It really has changed everything.
Well, I mean, and technology has changed every aspect of our lives, and it's made things a lot more difficult for the purists in any kind of thing. Because I mean, there are people who live, breathe photography, who are very old school, who are quite pissed that you can actually just take a picture and put a filter on it and stuff. And I mean, even with the spoken word stuff, I mean, I have people who come to my open mic. They get on stage, they do the first poem they've ever written, and then the next day you see on Facebook, they say, yeah, I'm a spoken word artist. And I'm like,
man.
Come on, man. Like, if I go to the club and I get on the dance floor and I dance for like 10 minutes, I can't then go and change my bio and say, yo, I'm a dancer.
Yeah,
like,
you can.
This is disrespectful to the people who've been dancing.
All you need to accompany that is a Snapchat video, Instagram video,
and that's
famous.
That's the world that we live in today, where I mean, all you need to do is have 2 or 3 posts to back up something that you said, and then that's it. But the people who have actually been here, who know the craft and stuff, we're just looking at stuff and just shaking our heads and being like, okay, really, what's happening right now?
Do you find it a challenge to keep? So spoken word is naturally like a longer piece, right? And we're in a time where people are really like snap. It's like a real
the
microwave
Twitter,
microwave
144
generation.
character.
Do you find it a challenge to keep spoken word relevant now because of that?
Actually, no, because what has happened is that we live in such a digital world where we all stay in touch with each other without ever seeing each other, without ever having conversations with each other.
Right.
So, we tweet in 140 characters, we do all of these things. And the one thing that most people are craving is human interaction, because it's the most normal, natural thing.
Yeah.
But we only interact on our devices, not in person. So
true.
spoken word is really the only outlet and artistic genre where you have that human connection. The artist is right there. As soon as they're done, they're right in the audience with you. There's no separation where they just go backstage like the hip hop artists and you never see them. They're right there. So it's human connection and communication, and that is the beauty of it, because the more technology takes over our lives, the more relevant spoken word will be.
Nice. That's good to know.
So what's next for Dwayne?
What's next? Well,
Over the world.
I'm always, working on stuff. So, I mean, I have a photography project that's in the works right now. And it's a very interesting project because I'm just shooting nudes of various people in the Toronto area who have volunteered to allow me to do this. And then we're going to...
So you can volunteer now.
Don't look at me. He was talking.
And then we're going to project the nudes. Instead of printing the pictures, we'll use projectors, and we'll project the pictures onto nude bodies in the gallery. So, for people to actually see the pictures, you're going to have to get close to a naked body. And it's really about exploring how comfortable are we with nudity, personal space, and all of these things. And just so it's interesting.
So the volunteers for the pictures, are they the models in the gallery? Or
No,
separate?
they're two separate things. But I mean, there are a couple of people who said they want to be in the gallery.
That's so
and
cool.
whatever. And I'm not shooting models. I'm just shooting regular people. So I put a post on Facebook, and I'm shocked that people were just like, yeah, I'll do it or whatever. And I've just been shooting just regular people. And it's very interesting to see, what comes out of people, because, you realize, the insecurities that people have, and everybody, has them. But, I've also received so many emails from people who are just like, I had so many concerns about my body, and then you sent me these pictures, and I'm just like, what am I concerned about? Like, these look great. You know what I mean? And it's just realizing that, sometimes people just have to step outside of themselves and get uncomfortable to become comfortable. And, it's been a great project. So that should happen in the fall. I'm going to Ghana in August and doing some performing and stuff over there.
Sweet.
And
Before you go on to that, though,
Yeah.
when you put the post on Facebook and asking for these models, did you get anybody like texting you and saying, "What the heck are you doing?" Why
not
did you
really,
do this?
because people kind of know that I've always been out there, and I've always just I'm an artist. So if an idea comes, I'm just going to put it there, and I'm going to see who's interested in the idea. Plus people know I do my members only erotica show, so they're just like, oh, okay, this guy's a
used to it
pervert
now.
anyways. Okay, whatever.
And you've done like
So-
sensual shots and boudoir type shots before.
Yeah, so
too.
I mean, and I do sexy work. I do some very provocative work. I mean, the photo thing that I did before this one was very provocative in terms of looking at race and sex and the human body, and it was that one.
You saw those ones, eh?
I saw those ones.
Yeah, that one generated a lot of very interesting conversations with people, because again, it's I believe that art should be provocative, and it should give people something to talk about and debate. And usually when the debates happen, I usually try to step out of the debate, because I don't want to tell people this is what I was thinking. I'm more interested in seeing how do people relate to what it is that they're seeing and experiencing, as opposed to me telling them. Because I believe, when you go to, a museum or a gallery, the picture doesn't talk to you and tell you this is what the painter was saying. People just stand there and say, oh, I think this and that. And I think, with my work, whether it be the photography or the poetry, I'm just really more interested in what it generates in people and what are the conversations that come from it, more so than me having to explain myself. So I like to be provocative. I like to provoke people. I like to push buttons. And that's a big part of what this is for me.
It's a lot like Patrick.
It's what creative people do.
It's an October thing.
It's what creative people do. We push buttons.
I don't have any
Cause
comment.
people to see themselves.
I'm creative and I'm nice.
We expose what people are thinking and bring it to the surface. And
Yeah,
normal people like yourself who are afraid to be exposed get scared. So you were saying that you're doing the Ghana thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to Ghana. Never been to Ghana before, so this will be my first time in West Africa. And so looking forward to that experience. And other than that, still writing, producing, still putting on events and that sort of thing. So I mean, the next event is my annual erotica show, which is coming up in April. And that show is very special to me, because every year I write a brand new show. So the whole show, 12 new poems that I write just for this one night, and I only perform those poems on this one night. So people pay, they come out, and they know in the 7 years that I've done the show, they've never heard the same poem twice. They've never seen the same things twice. And again, when we say what makes Dwayne Morgan, it's the fact that I'll do stuff that nobody else will do.
Right.
Like no one else is going to go and write a 2-hour show just for one night.
Right.
Like it's just not going to happen. But I'm like, well, I'll do it. And people will pay, and they'll come out, and they'll have a good time.
They'll enjoy it.
And they'll enjoy it. And they'll respect the fact that I'm willing to push myself to that level. And not even just pushing myself. I mean, pushing myself is something that I do for me. Respecting my audience enough to do something special for them is what I think people really, appreciate and respect, the fact that this guy is going to put himself through all of this just so that we can have this one special night. And, so it's like the only show that I do every year, which is brand new material. Everything that I do on that night, no one has ever heard anywhere before.
Would you ever teach?
I mean, I could probably, higher education kind of stuff or whatever. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I do a lot of workshops. I do a lot of stuff in high schools or whatever. But it's definitely something that I could possibly do at some point.
Okay.
You're looking for a teacher?
No, I just think it would be cool if he think of a creative writing class in like a college or university from a spoken word professor. Like there's nothing like that. That would be awesome.
That's true. I just thought you were looking, for a mentor or somebody to teach you some things.
No.
And since he's a creative person,
no.
teach
Can we
you
continue with the conversation?
We are continuing the conversation. just trying to
You
get.
really missed me, huh?
She's been
This
away
is my
for a
first
couple of
time
weeks.
back in like a month.
All right. Okay.
And-
Okay.
So he's making up for lost
I'm trying
time
to,
today.
exactly.
Okay.
I have to get all that
Yeah.
pent up
No problem.
stuff. I couldn't have
I'm
that out on
I'm
my
sorry, Dwayne. That
on
you
my,
have to
uh,
witness
It's all
this.
good. It's
on
all
my
good.
guests over the past few weeks.
Yeah, I'm
I have to
in the
let it
middle
out
of what
somewhere.
y'all are doing.
He's
here,
missed
so
me.
It's all good. So.
We got like 2 minutes left before we got to wrap this up, Naila. So keep it straight, okay? Keep it straight.
Yes.
So you've had quite an extensive career in this industry, and you've opened the door. You've been a trailblazer. You've pushed people to be more open, to provoked them in terms of their thinking. What are some of the feedback that you get from people? Have you been in a situation where somebody's kind of walked in there like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. What the heck am I seeing? And kind of freaked out from that perspective.
I haven't really had the freaked out kind of thing. I mean, even like say with the erotica show, I mean, I make it very clear in all of the promo that this is not for anyone who's conservative. This is strictly for the heathens and whatever, so that people know what they're coming to.
Do not bring the kids.
Yeah, because it is. I mean, it's
heathens.
tasteful, but it's an extremely scandalous show, and I don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable. So it's like, only come if you are comfortable with yourself, because I have areas of like audience participation and all this kind of. And one of the things that's cool is that we also have a rule at the show where you can't, unless somebody came with you, you can't take pictures of anybody who's there. You can take pictures of me, you can post things of me, but we have a strict like no photo, no posting kind of rule, just because we want people to just be able to enjoy themselves and feel free.
Be as scandalous as they want.
Yeah, because there are people who are like, okay, I want a ticket, but don't tell anyone that I'm coming. I'm like, what do you think is happening here? Like, it's not that kind of party, you know what I mean? But I understand that, there are certain people who have this, perception and stuff. So, you just want to stick within that. But for the most part, people have been really receptive.
Thank you very much for being with us, Dwayne.
No problem.
It's definitely been a pleasure. I know Naila is going to be the next one, since nobody's taking pictures of her. It's been definitely a great show. I want to thank everyone that tuned in, and have a great Sunday.
Have a good week.
A good week too. Yeah,
Awesome.
next week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure. It's there we go.
There we go.
The best internet radio station around. iLife Radio, the new social network.
Hey, this is Emily King, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Rare groove, revival, slow jams, upfront, old school.